Good morning and good afternoon again. My name is Shanda Cater. I serve as an account manager for the North region of the U.S. Thank you for joining us for part 6 of 15, Slots and Slot Requests. This is a part of our Exxat Prism training series. Helping me today on the webinar are two of my colleagues, Panaz Driver, who will be the main presenter today, and Ami, who will assist in monitoring the chat alongside of myself. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. The webinar is recorded, and you will receive a copy of the recording 2 hours after the webinar is completed. You will also be able to find the recording on our Exxat YouTube channel posted under Exxat Prism Training Series. You will find today's presentation attached in the handout section in the Go Webinar panel. Feel free to follow along. Please use the question section to ask questions or comment throughout the presentation. We will be manning the questions and addressing them during our question breaks. If you're having technical difficulties, please use the chat box and we will help you out. Today we have an audience from multiple disciplines, and Panaz will be using mostly live presentation mode within our system. She will also utilize slides as needed. Panaz, go ahead.
Hello everyone, I am Panaz. I am a customer success specialist at Exxat, and today I will walk you through slots and slot request. Our agenda for our webinar today is to go over slot request, managing slots, and sharing slots with your students. To begin with, we'll cover slot request, how you'll be able to set that up, configure, and send out the emails. But before we start talking about those, let's understand what is slots. Slots are basically availabilities that are provided by your sites, which you can use to place your students for their externship, internship, placements, rotations, however your program would like to address these. A slot request is sending out bulk emails requesting these availabilities to your sites so that they can give you these availabilities in the system directly. Before we get into the setup of the slot request, we'll just let you know what we are going to cover with slot requests. So first we'll go over the configurations, deciding what rotations to include, what contact information should be visible to your sites and other things. We'll also see the site view of the slot request as to what your sites are going to be able to see when they access your emails and click on the link to give you these availabilities in the system. We'll see the process of how you'll be able to send out these bulk emails to your sites. And towards the end, we'll also see how you can analyze the results and work upon those accordingly. Before we go ahead and configure our slot request, there are a few things that you may want to consider. The first one is to ensure that each site has an associated location. Ensure that there is at least one recipient listed for each clinical site so that they receive this email. Review the personnel mailing preferences if needed so that they are marked to receive this email. Add any new cohorts that you need to set up the rotations for in the system. Create the course offerings and make sure that you set up your rotations with the rotation start and end date. Once you have checked all of these, then we can get started with the slot request configuration. To do so, you would have to go to the site section from the hamburger menu, go to emails, and here you will see any previously set up communications, or you can click on the slot request on the setup new communication icon here. I'm going to switch over to the system now so that I can show you directly in the system how this is going to work. So once you click on Setup New Communication, this is the title section where you'll be able to set up a title for yourself. This is mainly to identify what this email is for. There are two further add-on activities that you can use. The first one is the actual slot request. The other one is the request location update information. Typically, PT programs would want to just send out the update location information first, sort of to call it as save the date, maybe just to check if all the contact information, all the information about locations is correct on the system. This will allow your sites to be able to see what information is about their location on the system and give you notes about any changes or updates. Programs would like to use the update location information just to check if everything is correct before they actually send out the actual slot request email. Or you could include this along with the slot request itself. So if you want to do this together along with the slot request, you can toggle this both the switch at once. Once you have decided how you would want to go ahead and set this up, you can then click on the next icon here. When you click on the next icon, here you see configuration steps. So typically there are going to be 4 steps if you have selected both the add-on activities. Let's go ahead and see how you'll be able to now configure everything. The first one is to go ahead and choose your rotations. When you come to this page, you want to click on the plus icon, select the calendar year in which your rotations are. This is a call out. If a rotation has already begun or is in the current date, those rotations will not come up over here for you to select. You can only select rotations that are in the future date. For example, all the rotations that are selected here are in the future dates. So you'll be able to check the boxes, select the rotations that you want to include on your slot request. Once you complete that, please click on the save icon and those rotations will be selected here. Additionally, you can also add instruction notes here. For example, if you want to collect a specific kind of setting for a certain rotation, you could include that in the instruction notes for that rotation. So when you click on the plus icon, you get a free text box and you can type in your notes over here. Once you type them, please click on the save icon to save them. You'll also be able to see the rotation name, the start and the end date, and for which class this is intended for. At times, programs have a different setup where they don't see the class here because they're set up as non-log steps. So in that case, you'll only see the rotation name and just the start and end date. Again, just in case, if you think you've included something by mistake here, you can click on the trash can icon on the right hand side to remove any rotations. Additionally, if you see this icon here, these are the notes that you have added on the rotation section as rotation notes. Those will be visible over here. Once you have selected your rotations and added the notes, you can then decide what settings and other information you would like to collect. The first one is the settings. Here, by default, all the settings that are added in the system under the program details are going to be listed and selected. In case if you intend to use or ask only for a certain settings for your rotations, you can uncheck the box that you're not looking for the slots. If you do want to collect slots, for example, only acute care, you can clear all. However, the system will give you this information that you need to at least select one setting. So you can select the ones that you want to include there. The next option is for you to include the slot type in the slot request itself. So we recently have come up with this new enhancement where we've given this option for programs to choose to include the slot type and the supervision type on the slot request. At times, programs would not like to include the slot type for the sites to choose from because maybe they don't use those type of slots or it's not important to include them on the slot request itself. So if you don't want your sites to be able to see the slot type, you can toggle the switch to grayed out and this will no longer be visible to your sites. However, If you do wish to collect the type of slot information, you can switch this to blue, and this will be a part of the slot request for your sites to choose from. Again, here you have the option to select what type of slots do you want to allow your sites to give you. The first one is the first come first serve. This is typically used by sites to say that we are willing to give 5 availabilities. Whoever is going to reserve these will get them. The second one is resume required. So your sites can say that we would take a student, however, we would need the resumes. Likewise, they can also identify that we need to interview before we take the student, must be filled and requested by the student. So you can select the ones that you want to include on that slot request page for your sites to be able to see and select from. Likewise, if you toggle the switch to include the supervision type, they will also be able to see what you want to include on that list. That could be either one student to one CI, one student to two CI, and so on. Whatever you uncheck here is not going to be visible to your sites. This is just to call out that in case if your program does not refer to the supervisor, preceptor, or anyone as CI, you can reach out to our support team and get this changed as well to identify that there is going to be one student to one instructor or one preceptor or one supervisor or one student to two preceptors, two supervisors, and so on. Further, there are auto notifications that you will be able to set up. The first one is slot confirmation. Think of this as a confirmation email that you may receive when you do online shopping. Maybe you're adding something to your cart, but when you actually hit submit, you receive that confirmation. This is exactly like that. Once your sites have received the slot request email, they click on the link, they add the slots in the system for you. Once they hit submit, they get a confirmation email with the summary of what they have offered. If you wish to send that confirmation email, you can toggle to switch to blue. You'll also be able to see what this email template has to say or edit. So the first one you see is for your sites. You will be able to change the subject. You can also edit the email template here itself. However, please remember to not remove the slot offered table or the response table. That's the summary of what they have offered. Likewise, if you wish to, you can set up the same confirmation email for the school to receive in case if you'd like to keep a track of what are the slots that you have received and would like to be reminded through the email confirmation. To check that email template, you can click on the school option here. You will be able to see the template here and edit it as well. Once you've completed the edit, you can then go ahead and save this. The next option is to set up an auto notification for call later slots. Now, these are follow-up emails that are sent out to your sites. When you send out the slot request, there are three options for your site to select whether they would like to give you availabilities. The second option is they would say that we are not going to work on this right now. They would like to be contacted later. When they click that option, they get the calendar to select a date of when they would like to be contacted. So if you have toggled this switch to enable the auto notification for a follow-up email on contact later date, this will automatically trigger an automated email to the staff person at the site that selected the date of when they would like to be contacted. It's a good thing to keep this on so that you don't have to remember to do a follow-up. The system will send out the follow-up emails itself. You could also edit the follow-up email template that is intended for your site. The subject says contact later for slot request. If you'd like to, you can include the school name here as well. This is the email template, and they also get the slot request link in this email itself to click on it and then offer those slots. Once you've edited this, you want to go ahead and save this as well. The next section we have is Other Setup. This option will allow your site's personnel to add a slot at a site level. Now, in the system, there are sites and locations. Sites are your parent companies that are mostly used for housing contract information, and locations are actual physical locations of patient care or where your students are going to be placed at. At times, it could be a possibility that there is a big chain of hospitals or a lot of different locations. However, somebody at the parent company, whoever is coordinating a placement, would like to say that we are going to take 5 students. However, we would decide the location eventually when they are placed. So they have this option to give you the slot at the site level and decide the location later on. If you toggle this switch, it will allow your sites to give you the slots on the site level and decide the location later on. The next section is for selecting the options on request update location information. This will come up only if you have selected the add-on activity to request location update information. Here you'll be able to see that on that update information page, your sites can see basic information about the locations that you have added in the system for them. So they can see their own location address, phone number, fax, website. They'll also be able to see notes, requirements, housing and parking information with notes filled in, and personal information. If you hover over the eye icon, you will be able to see what is included on the personal information. It is going to be their name, email address, primary phone number, and their designation. We've recently also come up with the enhancement where programs can now decide whether or not they would like to ask their locations to check and correct the housing and parking information, or if you'd like to show them the notes and have that checked or not. So whatever information you would not like your sites on to be able to see, you can uncheck those. Whichever ones do you want to include, you can check the boxes and they will be visible to them. Further, you have the school contacts. Now, the school contacts in this section are coming from the faculty and staff section of the system. So if you go to the main menu and if you go to faculty and staff, you will see an option when you click on the faculty name whether you would like to share their contact on the site resource page. If you toggle that switch to yes, only then the faculty or staff members information from the school is going to come up over here. I'll quickly go to that page. So from the main menu, the hamburger menu, I went to faculty and staff. I'm going to pick a faculty member, and then on the right hand side, if you see, there is contact sharing. If you click here, you'll be able to see whether their information, contact information is to be shared with students, other faculty members, or on the site resource page. So to get this faculty member on the slot request page, you want to make sure that this switch is on. I'll go back to our slot request setup. I'm going to take a quick pause to see if there are any questions.
Pinaz, I am not seeing any questions. Oh, I do see one that just popped up. Sorry, give me just 1 second.
Mhm.
How can we test the auto notifications in the slot request?
Okay. To test the auto notifications, there is a workaround where you can add yourself as a staff personnel in the system at the mock site. However, you would have to set up the slot request and everything. You can override the slot request or click on the link and set up the contact later and select a certain date and you will receive that email. However, you may have to add yourself with the correct email address so that you receive that email. But just to see what that email looks like, you will be able to see that here in the email template itself. You could also view the sample email over here. So if you click here on the view sample, it will show you the details of the email.
Thank you, Panaz. There is one other question. Does the faculty decide who and what they share, or does the admin?
So this will depend on the school, the program itself. The contact information is going to be only the first name, last name, the designation, and email address of the faculty or the staff who's shared. Typically, you want to make sure that whoever is going to be addressing any questions that the sites may have regarding offering you these availabilities should be listed here for them to be able to see and reach out to immediately. So if there is going to be somebody who is going to be coordinating the field experience or the placements from the school, typically they should be on the share on the contact information site section. For PT programs, that is mostly the fieldwork coordinators or experience coordinators, DCEs for different programs. Does that answer your question? I hope.
They responded thank you in the chat. So yes, I believe it does, Panaz. Thank you. There are no
Okay.
other questions that I see. Ami, do you see any questions?
No, these were all that I see as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Panaz.
Thank you. So then once you have toggled that switch to show the faculty on this page and share their contact information on the site resource page, they will come up here. However, you can still decide if an individual faculty or staff member's contact information should be visible on the slot request page for your sites so that they can reach out to them for any questions or anything like that. So who should be on that slot request page can be decided by this switch here that says share contact information with site. So right now, if we have Stacy's contact information marked as blue, only Stacy's contact will be visible. The other option we see here is to receive the slot request confirmation email. So this is that same auto notification email that is the slot confirmation to your site. So as your site gives you that offer, they receive the confirmation email, and you can also set up yourself to receive that email. However, just to call out, if you have reached out to 100 sites and they have given you all those availabilities, you will end up receiving all those 100 emails once they have responded. But there is also another way for you to see all that information in the system itself on the response page, which we will cover in a few minutes now. Additionally, there is a section for you to add instructions and documents to your slot request page, which is towards the bottom of this configuration. When you click on the plus icon over here, you can add instructions over here. Typically, you want to go ahead and personalize this section. So you can go ahead and thank them for participating or taking in students and so on. Additionally, there are programs who would like to include a paper form. If you'd like to do that and you have a paper form, you could include that over here in the browse to upload section as a document for them. Or you could also upload any document related to benefits, learning outcomes, anything that you feel is going to be helpful and relevant as a resource for your sites to give you these availabilities. Just to call out, you may want to include the instruction over here to let them know that they would have to click on the start icon to get started and give you the availability in the system. Once you have completed all this, you can then go ahead and click on the save icon. Once you save your slot request configuration, you will see the communication come up over here for you, and you will see that this is being set up. Just to let you know, you can go ahead and edit this configuration at any given point in time. You just have to click on this pencil icon. You will reach the same section. You can go on to configure add-on activities and edit any of this. Now that we have configured our communication, let's go ahead and see how you'll be able to send out the emails to your sites. You will see the send email option come up over here for you. It's going to be highlighted in blue. When you click here, you will be able to see the list of locations come up. So just to let you know, if there is an inactive site or a location, you will also be able to see that. You can see the tags as well. So when you hover over the tag option, you will be able to see the tags as well. Additionally, you want to make sure that all the staff personnel are associated with the location and they are marked to receive the slot request email. So we have included a report here that says view list of personnel. Once you click over here, this will open up the report for you where you will be able to see all the staff personnel along with your title and things like that. When you scroll towards the right hand side, you will be able to see the slot request section here. You can also edit the columns so that you can see the slot request right at the top and so on. But you just want to make sure that everybody who is supposed to be receiving the slot request email from the associated locations are marked to receive this as yes. For example, if they're marked to receive the slot request as no, in that case, you can click on their name, and I would suggest that you click on the left icon of left side of the mouse and open it in a new window so that this report is still available and is working for you. Once you click on their name, their details will open up. You just have to click on the pencil icon over here. When you scroll down, there is this option that says include in email notification and slot requests. So this is the one that you want to check off. That's how you'll be able to see if all the staff personnel are marked to receive the slot request email. Typically, these are going to be your SCCEs, fieldwork coordinators at the site, or somebody from the HR who is going to be giving you all these availabilities. Once you have done that, you will see that your locations are going to be listed over here along with the recipients. You can go ahead and filter out the locations based on how you want to send out the slot request. So let's say that right now you just want to reach out to the certain category of sites or locations. You can go ahead and filter them by category or by tags that you have used. Maybe you just want to reach out to your locations that give you availabilities for the level ones or specifically for level twos or for just the first experience or for the second experience, in-house clinic or externships and so on. So you will be able to filter these out. However, just make sure that you have categorized or tagged your locations appropriately. Once you've done that, you can select all the locations by checking this top box at the first one. Just to call out, when you select this option, at a time you are only selecting 75 records because on this page you can only see 75 records. In case if you have more than 75 records, you will see an option come up over here that will allow you to select the total number of locations. Once you have made your selections, you can go ahead and click on the next icon, save and next. You will see the total number of recipients and the locations come up over here. You'll also be able to see what are the add-on activities included in that link. Then when you click on the compose email, here you will be able to see the reply to email setup. Just want to call out, if you want to test this email and see what it looks like, we suggest that you select only one recipient from this location list. And then when you click on save and next, you can then go ahead and override it with your own email address. So instead of this actually going out to your site, it will come to you and you can see what the email looks like. Additionally, there is also a reply to section. There is a way for you to set up the default reply to. In case if you have a common distribution list, you could set that up as default. So any emails that you set up from the system, all of them would have the same reply to email address, no matter who sends it out. But if you've not done that, then in that case, whoever logs into their account, their email address would come up as a reply to. This means that when your sites receive an email, if they hit reply, the email that they are replying to would be received by this email address. You can also copy or blind copy anyone in case if you'd like to. And you can upload any documents or attachments to this email. This becomes your email attachment. Further, once you have completed that, you can click on the next icon. Here you'll be able to see the different templates that you have created. In case if you haven't created a template, you will see a standard template that we have created. If you wish to use the same template, you could. However, you won't be able to edit the standard template. So in case if you want to create a new one, you can click on the add new template icon here. Set up the template name as to whatever you'd like to identify it by. The subject, something that your sites are going to be able to see. So you can add the subject depending on what you want them to be able to read. And when you're typing the email content, please remember to include the mail merge fields that you see on the right hand side. How to include them is, let's say you want to type in something like a hello. Then in that case, you want to include their first name. You want to type the @ sign on your keyboard and select from this drop down here. Always make sure that you type the @ sign and select from the drop down so that it's an actual link that will do the mail merge. We suggest you not to copy paste this. At times it could be that it does not become a link. Once you have completed your email template, you can set that up as a default template as well, so that when you reach that page, that's the first template you see. And when you complete setting up your email template, you can also click on the save icon here. So once you have set up your slot request and template and you are good to go, you can go ahead and pick the template from here as well or use it as the default one. If you think you still want to edit it, you will have the option to edit the one that you have created by clicking on this edit icon. Once you feel that this is good to go and you want to go ahead and send it out, you can click on the preview option here. You will see the template that you have created. Just to call out, please always remember to include the request link. Otherwise, your sites will not actually see any link to click on to give you those availabilities. Further, there are two options to send out the email as well. You can either choose to send it right away, or you can schedule it at a specific date and time. So if you want to send it out on a specific date, you can select that option, click on the calendar icon, and then pick the date of when you'd like to send it out. For our PT programs, it's typically on the March 1st, so they select like the 1st of March. And then you want to make sure you select the time in hours and minutes. If you want to send it out early in the morning or towards the evening and so on. So this is what the clock you will see. But you also want to make sure you select the minutes as well. So you need to do it all the way through. Yep. Once you have selected that option, you can schedule it and the emails will be scheduled in the background. And then you don't need to worry, it will automatically go out of the system on that date and time. However, if you do wish to send it right away, you can select the option send now and click on send. Yep. I'm going to take a quick pause to see if you have any questions.
Panaz, there is a couple of questions in the chat. The first one is there a way to access the scheduled emails?
Yes, there is a way to access the scheduled emails as well. So once you have scheduled the emails, if you go back to sites from the hamburger menu, go to emails. For the communication that you have set up, you will see an email dashboard. So when you click on the email dashboard, you will be able to see the scheduled emails over here. Only the status would be as scheduled. In case if you want to cancel those as well, you will be able to select those that are scheduled and click on this X icon to cancel them as well if you need to rework on them.
Panaz, there was a follow-up question to that, and you answered that if you want to cancel it, if you want to, the additional question was in case you need to make any changes or cancel it. So could you clarify if they make changes, they'll need to resend, correct?
Yes, so just to confirm, in case if you need to make a change to an email template, you will have to cancel the ones that you have already scheduled. Then you would have to go back and then click on send emails, select all your recipients, again go to save and next, work with your template, schedule it again, and then you'll be able to see them here again as scheduled. So for any changes, you first need to cancel the ones that are scheduled, make the change and schedule them again.
Thank you, Panaz. I don't see any further questions in the chat.
Okay. So now that we have sent out the emails, you can see the email dashboard that we just saw from here. So under the email section, you will see the email dashboard that the graph icon will be highlighted. You'll be able to see whether what's the status of the email, did it go out or not, and so on, right? So then when you click on this graph icon, you will be able to see that there were total 41 emails, just as an example here. You'll also be able to see how many did actually fail or were in progress, how many were successfully sent out or delivered. You can also see how many of your emails were actually open. So how many sites or recipients did actually open the email as well. And you can also see if somebody actually clicked on the link or not. So this is a good status option here. You will be able to see the recipients, their email addresses, when the email was scheduled, when did they receive it. So it says that these are all delivered. To see the email template as to what it reads, you can also see the subject here. When you click on any of the subject, you will be able to see the email itself. So this is the email that they received. To see what that link looks like, you can click on this link over here itself, or you'll be able to click on the link here to access the link. You'll also be able to see the site name. Just in case if one of the emails did not actually go through, you could also try to resend it from this section over here. Now that we have seen the email dashboard, we are going to quickly see if your sites receive this email when they click on this link, what are they going to see on their end when they're working with the slot request. Yeah. So typically they would receive, the email that would be something like this, right? And then they click on the request link. Yeah. Once they click on the request link, they will be able to open the slot request link and they will see a page like this. So this is the first introduction page that they see, which is why it's good to add instructions for them and personalize this page from the configurations page earlier. Then they would have to click on the start icon to get started. So when we click on start here, Over here, if you see, they will see the location name. So they can go ahead and click on add availability, or they have the option to say contact later, or they can say we are unable to accept the students at the moment. When they click on add availability, they will be able to see that the location is pre-selected. There is also the section to select the preceptor or the clinical instructor or the supervisor. They can also select the setting, the slot type. If you have selected that to be visible, they will see it. Otherwise, supervision and slot type will not be visible. However, just to let you know, none of this is required or is mandatory for them to fill out. The only thing that they need to go ahead and fill out is the number of students that they are going to be taking in. So this is the number of slots, and they will see the rotation dates here. They can go ahead and type in the number of students that they are going to be taking, and then go ahead and save this. Likewise, if they are associated with multiple locations, they will see the same option for multiple different locations as well. Again, they have the option to select contact later. When they click that option, they will see a calendar and they can pick the date of when they would like to be contacted. And if you have set up the option for an auto notification as a follow-up on that date, you don't have to worry. The system will automatically send out a reminder on the date that the site will select here. The third option is for your sites to say that they are unable to accept the student at a specific location here. So these are specific to the locations. However, there's also an option to add a slot at the site level. This is what we talked about earlier when we were on the configurations page, to allow your sites to add an availability at the site. So they can go ahead and select add availability. The location information, however, in that case will be location not known. Don't worry, eventually when you match the student at this particular availability, you will be able to update the location here as well. Other than that, all the options are pretty much the same, and the required field only is the number of students that they're willing to take for a certain rotation. Once they have completed adding the availability and answering, in case if they have any questions, they will see the school contact information shared here, and they will also be able to see the rotations details come up over here. If you have included the option to update location information, then they will see the locations listed on the left hand side here. They can go ahead and click up along the location name to see the details. They will be able to see all this information. However, this is a call out. They will not be able to make any changes for you in the system. They would have to give you the changes or the updates in the notes section. So they can go ahead and type it in. And don't worry, this automatically saves. So even if they are working on something and they went away from their desk, it will automatically save. They can add notes here, then go to the next location, again add notes here. And as school, you will be able to see the notes that they have added and then make the changes in the system yourself. Once your sites have completed this section as well, all they need to do now is go to save and next and just click the submit icon over here. They will be able to see the summary of what they have responded and so on, and they can click on submit. I'm going to take a quick pause to see if you have any questions.
There are a couple of questions in the chat, Panaz. One of them is, can we clear out the response report before sending the March 1 mailer so that the information is accurate?
So you won't be able to delete anything from your end on the self-service to clear out something on the response report. However, you can reach out to our support team in case if you'd like something to be deleted.
Okay. The next question, is there any way we can check our work when setting up emails? For example, see the email content before it is sent or verify the links in the email are working?
So just to let you know, you can override the email once you've created the template, and you can override it to yourself. So you can put in your email address to receive it, and you can access the link. You'll be able to see the template and everything as well, right? However, just to let you know, if you have scheduled an email, then you won't be able to see the template on the email dashboard as well, unless and until that email has actually gone out. You won't be able to see that. But once you test and override one email, all the links should work for you, and the email template will be the same for everyone that you send out. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, there is another question, Panaz. If a preceptor is associated with several locations, but we only want them to pick from one location, is that possible?
So if they are associated with several locations and you just want them to do the slot request for a specific location, then you would want to go ahead and mark them as to not receive the slot request for different locations. And you can do that by going to the individual personnel's page, okay? And then once you select their name, you'll be able to see their associations over here. Yeah. So for each association, you can go ahead and edit whether or not for this location, the staff personnel should receive the slot request email. So whichever locations they mark to receive that, in the same link, they will see all those locations listed. But if you have unchecked it for the locations they should not, they will not see those at all.
Thank you, Panaz. The next question, if we chose contact later and then that person's email is no longer valid, will we receive notification?
I am
So
not,
I,
we will
I
receive
think
a note. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I think to clarify that question, it is, so if the clinical partner chooses contact later, we generate that email from Exxat to say we're contacting you later. Will it show bounced? Is there a way to view those contact later emails that have been generated?
I'm so sorry. As of now, I'm not aware if there is a way for us to see the contact later emails. But I'm trying to just quick check here if we can see that.
Janet, we can check in on this and get back with you. Certainly, I'll make a note in our questions.
Yeah, that is a very good question, and I'm so sorry I don't know that right now, but we will go ahead and get back to you on that.
Thank you, Panaz.
Okay, any other questions?
That's it for now.
Okay, perfect, got it. So once your sites have started giving you those availabilities, the slot itself is going to be added directly to the system for you to be able to view and access. But yes, there is also a response report where you will be able to see how your sites are responding to your slot request. Here, you will be able to see the list of locations and sites and the statuses of their responses. So you can see whether they have offered you any slots, there is no response yet, or if they have selected contact later, and so on. Likewise, you will also be able to view that slot in the system if they have added that in the system for you by clicking this view slot option. Once you click here, it will take you to a page where you will be able to see the slots that are added to the site itself. So here you can see the slots are added, right? And then in case if you want to see the slots that are added individually, specifically under the locations, you can go ahead, go to locations, pick the locations that you want to see the slots under, and then select the slot option. We have also come up with a new enhancement where you will be able to manage the slot response as well, along with managing your slots. So when you click on this manage slot response, you will be able to answer their response that you receive through an email or over a call and enter that on behalf of the site. So maybe if they called and said that they are not going to offer or they would like to be contacted later, you can then go ahead and select that option for them on their behalf. Add an internal note, or if they have completed a paper form for you and faxed it to you or mailed it to you, you can go ahead and upload that as well. Yep. There's also a nice way for you to be able to see the history of how the sites have responded to your slot request, to see whether they are constantly offering you availability or they are not offering availability, and so on, just for some analysis and considering of whether you want to reach out to them again or not, and so on. So you will be able to see the past responses as well once you are on that manage slot option. You can also go ahead and add the slot in the system on behalf of your sites. Either you can add them directly at the site or at the location. Both the places you will see an add slot option here. You will see the same screen that we earlier saw that your sites are going to be able to see. So if you know who the instructor is going to be, the setting and other information, you can select that. If not, you can skip it and just enter the number of students they're willing to take and save this. But just to call out, this might just get confusing over the period of time, because if you see there are too many rotations. So as and when your rotation list is going to get bigger, this will become a laundry list. But don't worry, we have the option to add the slot at the course level as well. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in just a bit, but we are going to go back to our response report. One other thing on the response report is that you will be able to see your slot request responses, but along with that, if you have selected the update location information, then you can also see the response for the update location information as well. So whichever locations and sites have given you that information that there's some change, you will be able to see the names of those locations come up over here. And then to view what that node is, you can click on the view icon over here. So you will be able to see that they have added the node. Now, because this is something that you would have to manually enter in the system and enter at that particular location, you can also track whether you have updated this or not. So you will see this option that says mark as updated. Once you have updated something, you can click on updated and click on the save icon here. So then you will see that this is updated. So you can keep a track of what changes you've done so far and what you need to still go ahead and work upon. When you hover over the eye icon, you'll also be able to see who has marked this as updated and when on what date. So once you have received the responses, you will see the location and site name here itself. To click on the name and then go into the slot section, manage slots by adding them or working on adding any responses. But again, if you want to add slots on the course itself, you can go to the main menu, go to placements or the course directly that you are working with, and then add the slots there directly. Any questions so far?
I do not see any additional questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much, Shanda. Perfect. So now what we are going to do is we will see how to add the slots to the course directly. From the main menu, if you go to placements, you can select the placement group or the course that you're working with, or you can go to the course directly and select the course that you're working with and go to placements. But eventually, to add and manage your slots, you would want to come to the slot section over here. You will see the dashboard immediately when you select slots. This dashboard is an interactive dashboard where you will be able to see the slots that you have received for a certain setting. You will be able to also see the slots by rotation in case if you have multiple rotations or multiple courses set up in a placement group. You'll also be able to see slots by status, and you can actually click through these when you want to see the list of confirmed slots, for example. Yeah. However, when you come to this list view, so from the dashboard on the left hand side, you see the yellow icon. There is a list view. Here you will be able to see the slots in a list as such, right? And then you will also be able to see if there are slots added to the parent company. They are going to be as tagged as or highlighted as location not assigned over here. It's going to be highlighted in red for you. Further, if you need to edit those and you've decided the location or anything like that, you can click on the pencil icon on the right hand side to make any changes. You'll be able to change the location as well or update the location here itself to the slot, and you'll be able to make those changes and save it. Further, if you want to add a slot, again, you can click on this add icon and you are adding the slot by selecting the location for which you've received this over a call or through an email or a mail or something like that. So you can pick the location by selecting this circle icon here. Then go to the next option. Again, you will see the same page that your sites can see. You can see that on the locations page as well. Pick the location here, select the options, and then add the number of slots here. Now that you have received these slots, you could also make the slots available for your students to express their interest by using the publish option. Just to call out, published slots are different from wishlist. Wishlist is where you are setting up a wishlist to collect the preferences of the students, where they'll be able to rank their preferences as well as their first, second, third, fourth preference. However, published slots are typically used by programs where they receive a first come first slot, so that they just publish it immediately and the student can express their interest that yes, I'm interested in it or not, and so on. So over here, you can go ahead and select whichever slot you want to publish, and then click on the notify student option. Once you click on notify student, you will see which students are going to be able to see that published slot, and then click on the publish slot icon. You can also compose the email to send them an email informing them that there is a slot that has been published, so they need to go in and log in. However, we just want to call out that the standard email here will say, please respond back to this email if you are interested in these slots. We would suggest that you don't use this template and create a new one, because the students can now express their interest in the system directly, and you can send that interest directly to the site as well. So you may want to rework on this template. Once you've published the slot, your students will be able to see that on their dashboard. And I'm going to go over and switch to the student side real quick. When the students log into their account, they have a section called as publish slots. They click on the publish slot option here, and then they will see whatever is available. If there is already someone placed at an available slot, they will see that is no longer available as well. So to express their interest, they will have to click on interested. We've recently come up with this enhancement where the students can now also upload a CV or a cover letter or any document associated with that interest as well and submit the same. Once they submit this, the schools can then see the same information under their slots section. So now I'm switched over to the school side. Here under slots, you can scroll towards the right and see this column that is for interested students. You may want to click on this sort icon so that you can see all the responses from the students come up over here itself. Yeah, when you hover over these, you will be able to see who are these students that are interested. And then when you click on the name of the student, you click on the two interested, you will see the two students come up and any documents that they may have uploaded. Once you select the student, if you want to send their information to the site or all of them at once, you can select those and then click on the send interest to location, compose the email and send it to your site as well. When your sites receive this email, they will be able to see the page like this. When they click on the link, they can see the student name. They will also be able to see the document that is uploaded, and they'll be able to say whether or not they accept this as a preferred match, acceptable match, or they want to say that they would not prefer this as a match as well. And once they respond to this, you will be able to see that on your end under the slot section as well. So I'm going back here to slots, and once you receive the response, when you click on this link over here itself, you will be able to see how your sites have responded. So you can see that over here. I'm going to take a quick pause and see if there are any questions, but that's pretty much it on slot management.
I do not see any additional questions.
Okay, perfect. So before we end our webinar today, I just wanted to quickly let you know that we also have our help center where we have created a lot of documents for adding and managing slots and site information and so on. You can also access the same through the PPT link that's provided here. And I just want to also call out that please remember there is another webinar coming soon for our Exxat Prism training, which is going to be on the 29th of Feb. This is about my request workflow, and that's something that one of our colleagues is going to be conducting. That's about it from me for today. Thank you everyone for joining in.